Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video, and I have got some breaking news for you guys, and I would say this is a huge W for everybody that has something against Nintendo, and I think people watching my content, aren't the biggest Nintendo fans, especially in this Nintendo Palworld saga. Again, a shout out to GamesFray.com, who have done an incredible breakdown of this whole story, simplifying a lot of the jargon so normies like me can understand, and I've been able to bring you guys this content, and a lot of other content creators have been able to talk about this and give their input, but let's talk about it, because I would say the latest story prior to this that I covered was a small W where there was a Japanese patent office that pushed back on what Nintendo submitted, but again, that's in Japan. There's a larger story at play here, but now they've got a new post. Huge blow to Nintendo. Head of US Patent Office takes rare step to order a re-examination of summon sub-character and let it fight in one of two modes patent. Now, this is a gameplay mechanic patent, which is one of the more interesting ones. Whenever gameplay mechanics are getting patented, that's a cause for concern, because that will have long-term ripple effects for game development as a whole. And I think a lot of people miss that point of this story. It's not just about Palworld in a vacuum. This is consequential to game development as a whole. I know some of you guys are like, this is too hyperbolic of a take, but no, it literally is not when you're talking about a game getting attacked, quote-unquote, by a larger publisher, because if Nintendo can do this, what's going to stop other publishers that have way more resources than your average indie developer? But some context from GamesFray. Nintendo is accusing Palworld maker Pocket Pair in Japan of having infringed 3 patents. The litigation may be motivated by Nintendo's desire to position itself as more creative and innovative while actually imitating Palworld. Last week, we were able to first report that the Japan Patent Office has rejected on a non-final basis. So what that means is, even though that Japan Patent Office did reject one patent from Nintendo is able to make adjustments to that patent and resubmit it again. That's where the patent game and the legal game gets a little bit murky, because you could just resubmit if nothing is finalized. So that's an issue, but there were citations of games like Ark in that denial of Nintendo's patent. I think the fact that they're bringing up other games to deny Nintendo, that's a huge step, but that's a Japanese patent office. 2 months ago, we were first to criticize a decision made by a patent examiner at the United States Patent and Trademark Office, USPTO, to grant Nintendo a patent on summoning a sub-character and letting it fight in one of 2 battle modes. That was a mechanic that, again, who knows who is verifying this patent? Who knows who's making these decisions? That's been one of my major concerns over the last year of covering this story. There is no transparency. There is no idea of who these people are. They just have all of this power. Are they people that follow video games? Are they people that understand this story? No, we're just supposed to trust them as these people that have the credibility to make all these decisions. And certainly they have more credibility than a schmuck like me that talks about video games on YouTube, but everybody should have more credibility than me when they're making decisions like that. These are consequential decisions that are going to have ripple effects for the long-term prospects of gaming. Like that, these are huge stories in terms of what it can mean in the future. And in a stunning development attributable to the public outrage that started here on GamesFray and reflecting concern over implications for the reputation of the US patent system as a whole, USPTO Director John A. Squires has personally ordered at his own initiative, thank you, we have some transparency there, who is involved in them personally ordering it, his organization, to take another look at Nintendo's US patent number 124033397. But think about that. This is where the transparency now comes in play, where John A. Squires is personally involved when there is that public outcry. Not every situation is going to have a ton of public outcry, and that shouldn't be the necessity for things to be scrutinized a little bit more, that there has to be this level of public outcry. And how long has this story been going on that finally we are getting some things done? The director determined that ex parte re-examination was in order because of 2 older published US patent applications, one of which was filed by Konami in 2002 and the other by Nintendo itself in 2019. It was published in 2020. Either one of those prior art references teaches a player being allowed to perform a battle in a manual mode and a simpler automatic mode. This may be the first such order in more than a decade. direct impact. A re-examination order is not a revocation order, which would not be possible in this form anyway, and even director-initiated re-examinations can result in a patent being upheld, but it is highly unlikely that the USPTO will revoke Nintendo's 397 patent. The two prior art references underlying the director-initiated order for EX part re-examination, that's the official title, address the element based on which the original examiner thought Nintendo's patent was distinguishable from the prior art. Nintendo has 2 months to respond to the order, and if any third parties wish to up the ante for Nintendo further, though it does not appear necessary, they can bring up their own challenges and present, for example, prior art relating to games rather than patent documents. Wider ramifications, this development further undermines the credibility of Nintendo's patent assertions against Palworld. This is now the second case in as many weeks where a patent or patent application related to patents Nintendo is asserting against Palworld is viewed skeptically by one of the world's top 4 patent offices. The other members of the club are the European Patent Office's EPO and the China National Intellectual Property Administration, and we are not aware of any major events relating to Nintendo patents in those jurisdictions. The last confirmed director-initiated order of ex parte re-examination was in 2012. The all-time number of such orders technically changed in 2019, but based on our research, the fact was due to a change in counting methods. The only plausible explanation is the USTPO leadership became aware of all the negative publicity surrounding the grant of the 397 patent and wanted to correct this mistake. So, we are in a position where the head of the leadership gets involved when they make a mistake, and there is a lot of public outcry for said mistake, and not only that, public outcry for months and months for them to get involved. I feel like that is a bad indictment on the process of these patents and how these patents get approved, but that, again, it's a little bit out of my worldview, but you guys let me know. How do you assess that situation? Should it have to extend to this level where there is this public outcry, that there are jabronis like me making videos about it, and then, more and more momentum is rolled on it, and then they do something? There are a lot of instances where nothing gets done whatsoever in terms of, there being public outcry and nothing changes for the better, but maybe I have to look at it as a glass half full rather than half empty, and I kind of got that half empty outlook right now. What makes this initiative even more remarkable is the fact that since Director Squires was appointed by President Donald Trump and confirmed by the United States Senate, all of his other measures that made it harder to challenge patents. October 16, 2025, they have an article on that. The first time he intervened with respect to a particular patent, he actually revived a canceled patent, declaring expert testimony unreliable. So this is going against what he has been involved in, but let me know what you guys think on this. I'll take any victory that we can get in this story. And again, what I will reiterate is that this is so much more consequential to just Palworld and Nintendo. You don't want this to be a case study for publishers going into the future of what they can do and how they can throw their weight around on indie developers. Think what you want about Palworld. I know, to a lot of people, it's a not a great game. And whatever, you can have whatever opinion, but games should be allowed to exist. And there's also the talk about what's going on with Tencent and Sony right now as far as, the Horizon copy. But Palworld, from a mechanics standpoint, is so different than Pokemon, and also the patents are tied to the mechanics, and patenting mechanics that are, in other games as well, and that's another can of worms. And also, the level of transparency and the patent approval process, that should come under question as well. There is no transparency. Who's making the decisions? At least now we know the head of this, the U.S. Patent Office is getting involved in John Esquire, but in the past, in terms of patents like this, who is handling that? That's something that I would like more transparency on, just so we have an idea on why the things are happening as the way that they are. But I would take this as a big W for, gaming as a whole. I would say gaming as a whole, but Nintendo, Pokemon's gonna be fine. Y'all just sold how many millions of copies of Legend Zeta A? You can have a 3 million budget for your next game. It doesn't matter. You guys are going to sell 5.8, 6.5, 34 billion copies of the game every time out. It don't matter. Just let other games exist, and I think that's what we want more than anything. And again, avoiding the ripple effects that a potential story like this could have. But that's gonna do it for me, and let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. As always, let me know what you guys think, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.